Look at that. We're live today. David, Eric here. We are fishing an unknown river up in Washington. We want to do some scouting, get outside of our normal comfort zone, and explore some Washington rivers. So today, Eric, thanks for joining me. Thanks for getting me out of my normal locations. And I just want to take a moment and say we appreciate you guys tuning in. But I want to talk to you a little bit about winter steelheading and what your approach to winter steelheading is. So if you can walk me through, we're going to do a big steelhead syndicate again, kind of a roundtable discussion. But as we're out here in Washington on a river, we're pretty much the only boat apart from Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. Walk me through what rod you're using today, tips that you're using. I know you got a couple different tips that you're using today, and just kind of what your approach is to winter steelhead.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I want to thank this iPhone because it's making me look good and somehow making you look fat, which
Okay.
I know is not true, but you're looking thick, boy. Yeah, water temps aren't super cold yet, but it's definitely tip season. I think if you had one sink tip to fish, 10 feet of T11 all day has caught, hundreds of steelhead all across, the West Coast. So that's a good one to go to. And then kind of just your favorite fly. Everybody's got their color preferences. So
What's your color preference?
I mean, I black and blue all
Black
day.
and blue.
But I mean, I like red too. And like my buddy Deck, he's big on purple. I don't fish it.
Yeah.
So something like that. Things I think about are for fly choice, guiding specifically. And you could ask yourself this too: is can I cast this fly?
That's great.
So if it's heavy, weighted, too much rabbit, doesn't matter if somebody's like, "This is the best fly ever." If you can't turn it over, then don't tie it on.
Can I pause you right there? So I hear you guys a lot. Now treat me and others like this is our first time fly fishing. When you talk about turning a fly over, can you help kind of describe that to anyone that's watching this? What you mean by turning the fly over?
Yeah, you just get it on a table and then you just
Yep.
turn it to the other side, and then bingo bango, you have steelhead. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just-
No. So just like when you cast, right? You cast a dry fly or anything, the line comes out, the leader
Yep.
turns over itself. Basically, it just means that your cast goes out. It doesn't have to go straight or whatever. It
Right.
just has to go to the end. Like if it hits the back of the reel, or all your running line goes out, it ends tight and then
And
hits the water.
lays
Yeah.
out nice. So let's talk about speed of water that we're kind of looking for today, and with anyone that's watching wanting to get out in some winter steelhead, what kind of speed of water are we looking for?
Yeah, I mean, in the wintertime, definitely lean to slower than you think. People say walking speed. I just see a lot of people struggle to recognize that. If you're on the water a lot, you just look at it and you're like, that's the speed right there. Or like,
Right.
I'll be somewhere, I'll be like, hey, look, that flat spot right there. They're like, where? And whatever. Not to knock them, but to anybody that guides, you're just like, the fucking flat spot on the water. That the only spot that is out in front of us. And so it's, you can pick something on the water, foam or a leaf or something that's floating past you, and just kind of imagine if you could keep up with it if you're walking on the bank. If you're in a boat and you're, scouting a new river or something, just dig in with the oars a couple times and try to stop your raft or your drift boat, and then pull your oars out of the water and start drifting, and just look at the bank and being like,
Okay.
hey, can I walk that speed? Slower is better, I think. Not to say that fish won't sit in a little bit faster water, but that's usually because there's big rock, and big is like the size of a rower seat, or like like a little bit bigger than a bowling ball. That'll just break up the water, allowing them to sit in basically walking speed, but the top looks faster. But not to get too much in the weeds, if you're just getting started, like slower. And if it's too slow, you should be able to know, like your fly's just not going to swing through there.
Right.
But yeah, there's kind of a specific speed that those fish like to sit in, and you just got to kind of play around with it. And in the river, it changes, obviously, different heights and stuff. So the run's not going to be the same speed the whole winter. So
Right.
if you're fishing it and you're like, oh, that feels good, or maybe you catch a fish, I would immediately after the high wears off, look up on your river app or USGS and look at what the river you're on is at
100%.
that day. And
Yep.
just be like, oh, cool. Well, like at this CFS or this feet, this run fish is really good. And you can make a little note, you can put in your phone or just, put in the Rolodex brain and you're good to go. But
honestly, what I do for that, Eric, is Colby and I did a video on how to read river levels and use different apps doing that. But in my OnX, where I can pin a location, I can put a note in that location specific. And so what I'll do is I'll put what my current CFS is when I landed a fish, so I can quickly go back to that and be like, oh yeah, this is a quick and easy spot where I can remember the location, CFS, gauge height, all that stuff, and it's kept in one uniform place. So
oh, that's cool. Yeah, then you can just tap on it when you pull into the run.
Tap on them like, hey man, I was here, a year ago. CFS was pretty close to what we have today. There should be a rock right there. There should be a bucket right there. More than likely there's a fish holding there.
Yeah.
So,
and there's this like tension that you want on your fly. And again, I don't want to turn this into a TED talk with steelheading, but the over mending just needs to stop. Like set it and forget it. Throw it 70 degrees down. That's slightly downstream from straight across.
yep.
Throw a little bit of a mend into it, and all that does is just gets your Skagit head, upriver of where your leader and your fly is supposed to be. There's like a mega mend stuff you can do, but honestly, like, don't get caught up in that. Like, that's pretty advanced stuff. I don't want to be like, wow, like I'm a big deal, but you people can't do it. Like I was just bitching to you, there's a run on the Clackamas called Dead Horse. It's famous. I can fish it with T11 and a weighted fly the whole way through and never hang up. And I'll put clients in it with 10 feet of T8 and an unweighted marabou fly, and they're hanging up every cast just because their fly's not turning over. It's piling there. Pet peeve number one, people make a cast, they have running line left over, and they just lift their rod and like mend it out so it sucks. So you have all this slack, and your fly it doesn't fish, and it's just really bad habits. Like if you're making casts and the fly's not going out every time and you're doing that to get rid of the slack, just reel it in, because you'll never catch a fish that way.
100% agree.
Just won't. So just like don't cast above your pay grade. So make sure it turns over, throw a little bit of a mend, and you just want it to be tight. And that doesn't mean it needs to be straight. Like there could be a belly in it if it's slower water, or if it's a little bit faster, you do a little bit bigger of a mend. You just want to feel that tension of that fly so it's moving. It could go slow, it could go a little bit faster, but you don't want like these S turns. You don't want slack. You want tension. The fish you're looking for, swinging flies, is going to be super aggressive, so they're going to move to it. So you want it to look, whatever, vulnerable or whatever. You want it to be under tension, and all your rhea, marabou, or rabbit or whatever to be activated and moving. So the over mending, like people cast, they'll do a mend, it starts swinging, it's in the juice, they have a little bit of a belly, and they lift and mend. And your fly does this when you do that, and you'll just never catch them. So just don't do that.
I mean, back 20 plus years ago when I first started steelheading with fly rod, everyone was mending. Everything was just a big mend, and oh my gosh, we got a little belly in the line, and people are mending every single time they see a little belly in the line. And that has been a big shift in just fishing with you guys and learning, like, hey man, that was a thing of the past.
I like a belly in the line, not a huge one, but it keeps that tension on the fly. So like as it comes into the inside, which it should be a little bit slower, typically, that belly helps that tension, swing that fly to the inside. So if a fish is following it, or one's coming up the inside, or it's parked down there just hanging out, it's not just, coming in and dying. If you're worried about your line being straight the whole time, you're just bending all this stuff, all that time it's out in the middle or in the juice, it's just doing a bunch of stupid shit, and they're not going to eat it. And then as it comes in, you've mended it so much, it's so straight that it gets into like that inside seam where second juice, and it just sinks to the bottom, and that's why people are like hanging up. So I would much rather have somebody throw it 70 and not do anything, just not even mend it, because your fly is going to continue to sink with the tip. If you're in walking speed, even slightly faster, it doesn't come up under tension. People think that. And if you've ever got up real high on a cliff and watched somebody fish a bright fly in the winter, they cast, they mend or don't, it comes through like 10 feet and then it just disappears. So it continues to sink. So don't worry about, having that belly on there and having too much tension. it's not going to be ripping through there. It's coming through a lot slower than you think, but it's under tension. That's like the key, I think, for catching winter steelhead is tension on your fly and tight to your reel, so it's engaged. I mean, that's what the swing is it has to be under tension. The over mending is just gotta stop. And again, with the mend, it just takes a while. I don't know why, because it's not rocket appliance. I'm not like, hey, you guys got to do this, and it's this complicated thing. Stop letting go of your rod with your second hand. It's not a 9-foot 5-weight. You're not, indicator fishing. A single hand fly line's tapered and it's long. So when you raise it up and do that flip, that energy transfers down the line and it actually does a mend. Most of the time when you're fishing a spay rod, you're casting far, and so your Skagit's way out there, and now you just have running line, which doesn't have a taper.
Right.
So when they just go up and over, all that does is move like 6 feet of your running line, maybe like 6 inches or a foot of your Skagit, maybe 2 foot. Even if you do 2 foot, that's not doing anything, because your fly lands like this, and then you move this part. Well, your fly and your sink tip are already started to sink, so it goes downstream. So like, keep both hands on. You make your cast, it lands. Just hold it with both hands. It's tension. It's not a up and over. So just lift your Skagit up, and I just give it a little pull back, and that'll kind of straighten it out. And then just kind of feed it in, and you'll feel it kind of engage and tighten up. So
at that point, you'll go to single hand. And
then I just lower it in. But it's like, you kind of like want to think about that stuff. I see people just huck it out, some shitty mend, and then the rod just goes straight down. There's running line everywhere. So it's not overly complicated, like I said, but it's not just huck it out and just be like, well, let's see if one's there. Like, there's a little setup to swinging your fly, but once, as it sinks and it comes tight, don't fuck with it. Like, it's going. So just
let it do its thing.
Point your rod tip at, your Skagit, and just don't lead it. God, we're really getting on a rant almost here.
You're going around
a rant hole. Quit fucking pulling your rod to the side. My God, people. It's like it's coming into the inside. I just see people they're just pulling the rod.
Yeah.
You think you're moving the fly sideways. That's not how physics work. You're moving it towards you because your rod's going this way, the line's out here, and as it comes here, it's going upriver. And the fish, if it's following it, your fly starts going like this away. They're like, fuck that.
Yeah, forget that. That's too much work.
They'll go horizontal and usually come from underneath and out, or they'll bite it from the back. But you're moving your rod this way. God forbid if a fish eats and pulls, you're just going to probably trout set anyway. So like, that's the whole thing too. You've over mended it. So now you're straight, and as it comes into the inside, now it's not swinging anymore. So now you're pulling it, and you're just a clusterfuck. And the heat, my sunglasses is fogging up. And
I can see that.
It's just like, just don't do it. So don't try to pull your fly there. Now I know there's going to be somebody that's like, I do it all the time, and I catch tons of steelhead. Great, you're better than me. I don't know what to tell you, but it's just not a good process to do. Just 70 degrees, which is just slightly down, river from straight across. A little mend, just both hands, just little mend, and then just lower your rod so it's pointing at the Skagit, swings engaged, and let it go through. There's a lot of downtime because there's not that many winter steelhead fish, and even if there is, the water's real cold. So I guarantee you, most days you go steelheading, you're fishing through fish. People are like, I can't believe there wasn't a fish in that run. It's like, go get your drift boat.
Stand up on the ledge.
Well, put some plug rods out and run plugs straight down that run. You're probably going to get one. They just, their aggression levels are different, and we're asking this fish that's not there to eat to chase down a ball of feathers and attack it. So I don't know what the numbers are, but it's not every fish. It's like, I used to think like, if they're in there, we're going to get them. Not true. Now it's like, if they're in there, like, maybe we'll get them. Probably not, but maybe. And then when you get the right conditions, the aggression level on a majority of the fish go up. So that's like when we get rain, the river comes up. In the winter, the rain makes the water a degree or two warmer. It puts color in the river.
Right.
It brings in new fish. The fish that were in deep holes because it got low and clear, they're now moving around. They're closer to the bank. They're aggressive. So like all that aggression level and stuff, that's like what we're talking about. What do I do with my hands? That's what that we're talking about with good conditions.
Right.
That all those things add up. So then now all of a sudden, if there is a fish in there, they're probably closer to you. They're probably tuned up. They're a little bit warmer, and you know, you catch them.
Ready to move.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you giving us kind of a rundown on what we got going on out here today. And Eric and I are going to be spending more time each week up north to help out our Washington clients and also learn some new stuff for ourselves. I know you've fished other rivers that shall remain nameless up here quite a bit as well. So this is a new river that he and I are fishing together today. Big thing I want to do, and I do this in every single one of my videos when I'm sitting beside one of our guides here, and that is to talk about our guides. And so Eric is a badass guide, and he fishes. I don't know if there's a species that Eric you won't fish for.
Oh, I think you know that species.
Yeah. Well, that's not the way it used to be, but
I
trout.
mean,
Trout is his four-letter word. He gets out on one trout trip a year.
I like fishing for him. I just don't like fishing for him in Oregon. That's all.
But Eric has a tremendous guide program, Winter Steelhead, which we're just getting ready to get into. So if you're looking to, number one, learn how to winter steelhead fish, hit Eric up. You can either call the shop. He's got a website. Get with him. This is a guy who has been doing it for a long time. He is going to teach you exactly as we're talking about speed of water. It's one thing to say, oh, follow a piece of foam or a leaf and see how it's moving. It's one thing to say that. It's an entirely different thing to actually have a guy like Eric take you out and show you, okay, this is the speed of water. The other thing Eric's going to do is he's going to help you tune up your cast. And, you know, I equate steelhead fishing very much to swinging a golf club. There are very few people that are really good at swinging a golf club every single time they go out. And most people go to the pros to iron out things between tournaments or whatever, you know, their normal golf game. And I think spay fishing is the exact same thing. You develop bad habits pretty easily, especially if you're not doing it every single day. You need to get out with a guide like Eric. He's going to teach you the type of water. He's going to teach you the depth. He's going to teach you the cast. He's going to show you all the things that you need to know to have success out here. Because as Eric said, winter steelhead fishing, there's a lot of time on the water with not a lot of action. And getting out with someone like Eric or any of our other guides that work at Northwest Fly Fishing Outfitters are really going to help you advance your winter steelhead game. But we are just now, temperatures are finally starting to drop. Outdoor temperature is starting to drop. We're finally getting into the 30s, which hasn't happened. You're going to see river temps are going to start to drop. You're going to see fish moving in. We've got a couple of our guides. Spencer has been on the Clackamas, hooked a couple of steelhead, landed one winter steelhead. So they're in there, and that's the point. Now is the time to start dusting off those cobwebs. If you haven't been out, you haven't been casting, get with one of our guys, do a casting lesson, or more importantly, go on a guide trip and spend the time on the water. That's the only way you're going to get better at this. For years, Eric, you know I'm like a trout bum, right? And for years, I'm like, I did the steelhead thing. I'm kind of over it. You guys have all rekindled that desire to go chase steel. And so that's why I'm spending time with guys like Eric. And so I encourage you, get out. Now is the time. Stop thinking about going fishing. Stop sitting on your couch. Stop wondering if the day's long enough. Do I have enough? Is the sun doing this? Is it? Just get your ass off your couch and go find a river somewhere that you know has winter steelhead and go chase them. There's nothing better than it. There's nothing better than coming out on a day like today, spending time with a friend of mine and chasing steelhead. And we may or may not hook a fish. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the kind of thing I'll end on is like, there's a guy that came in the shop, I don't know his name, but he's like, he was a numbers guy or whatever, and he's like, oh, I'm thinking about, Euro fishing for some small rivers on the coast for steelhead, like Euro fishing. He's like, I think I could Euro nymph like a bunch of them up and like, whatever. I wanted to, throw him in a garbage disposal, but it's not a numbers thing. And it's like, if you are a numbers guy, it's like, don't force yourself to go winter steelheading, like go snowshoeing or take up tennis or something like that. It's not going to be for you. You're not going to have a good time. I mean, I don't want to sell winter steelheading to people that like, it's not a good fit for you. But, and that's the thing too, is like it's a long game. Like you can hire a guide that's going to definitely cut the learning curve down. But I mean, this is like my 15th year guiding, and something that I know for a fact now is like it takes a long time. Like we say the same things in a million different ways to try to explain it. You get a lot of hours looking at the same thing, casting the same thing, but it just takes a long time for that stuff to like imprint and become second nature. So like I'm not going to take you out here and turn you into the world's best, you know, steelheader in one trip. There's guys that have fished with me for like 7-8 years, and it's like they're good now. But like it took a long time, because you just need the feedback from like catching fish. And the first couple dozen you catch, probably you're not going to think about anything. You're just happy to catch a fish. Right. But all that stuff starts to make sense about, you know, the speed of the water. I'll fuck guys up and, you know, be right behind them and be like, how deep do you think your fly is right now? They're just like, I don't know. It's like, why not? Like, how am I supposed to know? You're like, well, look at sink tips, whether it sinks at 5 inches a second or 7 inches a second, how much you mend it to create slack, and then feed that line back in, and you can count, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever, and times that by however many inches a second.
Wait a minute. I gotta start doing math when I'm out here.
Yeah, I started doing
what
a couple years ago.
What the hell?
Just because I wanted to know where my fly's at, and you can do it, you know, big enough mend or whatever as you get better to where you hang on the bottom in 4 feet, and you're like, oh, okay. So like I counted, and I was like, whatever, 9 seconds down with 6 inches of, you know, 6 inches a second. So you're like, whatever, 48 inches. So next time you fish that run, if you want to get real nerdy with that, you can try to do a mend to where you're like 6 inches or 6 seconds. So it's like 36 inches. You kind of you can kind of decide based on like, is it cold as shit and they're pussy to the pavement, like a foot off the bottom? Okay, well, I got to get down there. Or like, is it like late March and that's not super specific? Right. Maybe the water's like 47, 48. So there's just different stuff like that you can take it to a whole different level. It's not just casting and hanging on.
That's what I was talking to you earlier today. I think steelhead fishing, a lot of people just cast their fly and then they just aimlessly work their way through a run, and they're not actually thinking about what's that fly doing, what's the depth of my fly, am I actually in the proper depth where I feel confident a steelhead is going to see my fly. And so the fact that you're talking about counting and having almost like you would in a lake of like, okay, if I'm going after big bull trout and I'm casting and it's 12 feet depth in water and I know I'm fishing the shoal, like I'm going to count down. I'm going to know my fly is in the feeding zone. And so I guess that's a great takeaway even for people who have maybe been steelhead fishing their entire life, is you can just go out there and aimlessly cast and aimlessly swing through the water, but really put some thought into what your fly is doing out there.
Yeah, I mean, all the years I guided in Alaska, we're 4 miles from the Bering Sea, and, you know, hundreds of coho would be coming in to tidewater during the day, and you'd catch them on a floating line and just like a streamer, you know, whatever, pink rabbit. But after the super aggressive ones, like you could see, you know, 50 in there and just a little bit of a sink tip. Like we're throwing like 6 feet of T11 on a single hand. Yeah. That foot difference, like you're going to catch, you know, 40 more coho out of a pool than you would with just a floating line, because maybe you're a foot down instead of like 3. So that really started to get me to think when I started to come back and chase winter steelhead. It's like, you don't have to be on the bottom, but like it does pay to get that fly pretty close to them sometimes. Yeah. And so that whole analogy of like, you know, 10% of fishermen catch 90% of the fish, like there's all these stupid sayings in fly fishing, but over the years, like that one's that it's just becoming more and more relevant. Because that's what it is. It's like people that understand, like, not necessarily the furthest casters, but how to get their fly swinging early and deep and out there and under tension and not hanging up on the inside. And there's just a bunch of stuff you can do with your rod and, you know, the angle of your cast and the tip you're fishing. And yeah, I'm not going to, you know, be one of those videos that's like, oh, in the riffle you throw on a, you know, mo tip, and then you get in the bucket and you swap out to T8, and then you get into the tail out and you go to a type 3. Like whatever videos those used to exist like 10 years ago are just the dumbest shit ever. You can use one tip and just the angle of your cast and how much you mend, you can achieve different depths and different speeds. So like there's a lot going on. So the people that are just getting into it, they're like, oh man, fuck that. I was going to go on a trip and now this doesn't sound fun. You're correct. But you can come out, and the first thing is just like learn to cast well, be efficient. It's really enjoyable. People go snowshoeing, people go whatever, mountain bike riding, trail running, all those sports, they're also not catching steelhead. So that's the way I look at it when I go winter steelheading now. Is they live in really pretty places. I get to usually have a couple runs by myself. I work on my cast. I make it try to look good and all that bullshit. And then as you start to catch a couple fish, you can start peeling back a layer and start thinking about things different. And that's kind of what I've just done with my guys. It's like, let's first have fun and get you casting all right, off both shoulders, both sides of the river, up wind, upriver wind, downriver wind. You're gonna catch some fish. Then, okay, you've got maybe a dozen fish or so. Let's start thinking about like things that happened, why you caught those fish, and how we're gonna break down a different run. Because even with like carp fishing in the summer, there's so much. Anybody that's been carp fishing with me, the fucking beginning morning talk has now extended to like 40 minutes. It's just, there's too much shit. In that scenario, you kind of got to like be aware of all the things. But with steelheading, we can kind of ease into it, and you can still have a good day, even if you don't catch a fish, and just kind of work your way into it. But yeah, it's just a easy way to fish, and it's something to do in the wintertime. That's why I like it.
I will say it's extremely therapeutic. You start kind of getting into your groove, your casting groove, and you're just working through a run, and it's therapeutic.
Yeah,
if you're not doing math while you're swinging, it's just looking around you and just waiting for that.
Yeah, and I mean, you could go winter trout fishing. That's fun too. The payoff is just a little bit greater because when you do hook a fish, they were in the ocean earlier that year, and they're usually big, and they'll peel line and do all sorts of cool stuff. And it's probably going to be one of your biggest fish you'll catch all year. So the high risk, high reward is definitely what I think keeps a lot of us coming back. So yeah, I'm just cautious about the people that come fishing. Like I don't guide for a paycheck. None of us are ever going to get rich doing it. So we want to have a good time. So I don't hard sell winter steelhead to anybody. It's like, you got to want it. And if you got to want it, then I'm like, hell yeah, let's party.
Yeah.
That's why I've always said it's a different sport than summer steelheading. It's not even the same. I mean, the only thing that's relatable is kind of, can you cast a spey rod? When the water's 55 degrees and above and closer to 60, send it a 45 hard down and don't do anything. And if they're there, they probably are going to eat it. And if not, just keep going. You're probably going to run into one.
Right.
It's a lot more cash. You could wear a t-shirt, a hoodie, or something like that. But the wintertime stuff, it's a little bit more critical thinking. Not to say you can't luck into one on the right conditions, but it's just people that kind of like a challenge and stuff. And
it is definitely not for the weak. I will agree with that. But
yeah, I mean, just in the winter. I mean, it's just like lately, it's just been like, what the fuck are we doing? We're just fucking paying taxes, spinning around on this rock. So it's like, I got 4 months to kill. I can either be like, oh man, I wish it was warm, or or
I wish the day was longer.
Yeah, or I could just go steelhead fishing. So it's like, it seems like a pretty easy choice.
Well, again, I want to thank you for coming out with me today. And
fuck yeah, I don't have to row. This is nice.
Spending time. I love rowing a boat, so anytime you need someone to row, I'm there.
Deal. Yeah.
But I really appreciate you. Number one, all the expertise, the knowledge that you bring into our shop at Northwest Fly Fishing Outfitters. Again, there's no guarantee you're going to go out with Eric and you're going to catch a steelhead. But what I'm going to guarantee is you're going to become a better angler, and that's what we're out here for. Every day, become a better angler. Stop sitting on our couches. Get our asses out. Get outdoors. Breathe fresh air. Turn off that stupid ass TV because it's not doing you any good. And find some water and share it with a guy like Eric. Like I said, we are going to have a roundtable discussion coming up for like everything winter steelhead with several of our guides. We just wanted to continue this reaching out via the live channels and connecting with you all, let you know that, hey, we're out here fishing too. We love this sport. We are passionate about this sport. Eric's been doing this for how many years now?
Guiding, this will be my 15th.
15th year. He does it because he loves it. We love fly fishing. We are passionate about fly fishing, whether it's carp, bass, some of us trout, steelhead, coho. You just got back from New Orleans chasing redfish. He's going to have a kick-ass redfish program coming up 2027, 6?
We're going to do I'm going to do a little hosted trip down there in 2027. But yeah, my buddy Jeff Arnold, who I guided with in Alaska, and our good buddy Bailey live down there. And yeah, they're going to have a pretty unique red fishery down there where it's really unpressured, which is hard to find. So yeah, there's going to be some opportunities for people just to go fish with them. I mean, not even a hosted trip. Just I'm gonna kind of put people into contact with them, and they kind of have like a bed and breakfast around the corner you can stay at. And yeah, I just got back from there for like a week, and I saw one skiff in 5 days.
It's crazy.
And it was very good fishing.
Yeah, you can check out his Instagram page and you'll see some of his fish. It looked fantastic. The point is, we're a fly shop full of anglers that love to fish. We're passionate about fishing, and we're passionate about helping others learn to chase all these different species. Saltwater doesn't matter. We've got guys that spend time in the salt too. So come hit us up. Again, we want to thank you for tuning in to this live version of Fly Fishing Unfiltered from Northwest Fly Fishing Outfitters. Got a bunch of content coming your way, all the overland gear that you need this winter to keep you out on the water, plus lots more tips and tricks and some news coming out of Washington that's going to affect fly anglers. And so,
podcast.
Oh, yeah, you go. What about your podcast?
Podcast. Yeah, what the world needs: 2 more white guys giving our opinion. So you're welcome. You're fucking welcome. You asked for it, and I guess.
Did they ask for it?
Yeah, so many DMs, man.
Okay.
All the mostly from women. They're like, you know what we want? We want more men telling us
More men
about stuff.
mansplaining.
Yeah,
more mansplaining.
Man now, man long time. So, yeah, Zach Crothers and I, we started it last year. We took the summer off because we're just guiding every day. Yeah, it's on Spotify. There's like 6 episodes on there. It's just called The Struggle is Real. But we're setting up shop in the shop.
In the shop.
So throughout the early winter, and spring going into next year, yeah, it's just a little bit more consistent. So we'll be recording Saturday, and I don't know, probably posting up Monday or something like that.
You're going to be talking about just guide stuff and fishing in general?
Yeah,
or are you going to go on your rants?
I mean, it's like there's so many good fishing podcasts out there. Well, not really, but there's a couple really good ones. Shout out Brian Niska in the Bucket.
Yeah.
Shout out fucking Kelly Gallup. So basically, you don't even need to listen to my podcast because it's his podcast.
You just rip it off.
His is much better.
You wait a week later and cover the same shit.
I mean, all they talk about is like trout and stuff, and I'm listening to it all the time. They're just like, Kelly is like, yeah, I'm reincarnated. They're great. So that's the Slide In podcast. Those 2 are great. But
great guys.
Yeah, I mean, ours is it's gonna be. I mean, whatever, we fish and we guide. There's gonna be some local stuff for sure, but yeah, just like, you know, who knows? It's been a mix of shit up there, but we just like it because it's fun.
It's cathartic as guides.
Yeah,
talk about
and
shit.
Like I think a lot of it too, we try to get into a little bit more of like just like the guiding aspect and just like, you know, just like the, you know, nomadic lifestyle of it and the pros and cons, and it's just kind of like a little bit of an insider look on like kind of the industry rather than, you know, like, oh, I went fishing and I caught these fish. Like, no, I don't care about that. I don't want to talk about that shit anyway. So, yeah, that wasn't a good sell. You're like, yeah, this sounds like bullshit.
Yeah, the struggle is real.
It's gonna be bad, real bad.
It might get a little bit better. Probably not.
No, so that's it's gonna be.
So it's on Spotify. It's on
Apple Music.
Apple Music.
All the bullshit.
Struggle is real, and how is real spelled?
Just like a fishing reel.
Okay, I just got to make sure.
Got to have a pun on there.
You got to make sure.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to listen to it, I would, because we're probably going to get kicked off Spotify. I'm already surprised we haven't, because I didn't mark it as
explicit.
Yeah, and not for children one time, and I got a warning from Spotify.
Got the hand slap.
Yeah, they're like, this is not good. I was like,
some 6-year-old's ears are burning right now.
Yeah. So yeah, if you ever watched any of the Friday Night Flies, it's pretty much that, except
that.
in more long form. So.
Yeah. Well, there are some fish rolling around out here, and again, we want to thank you for tuning in. Do check out The Struggle is Real with Mr. Carruthers and Eric here. They are awesome guides, awesome people. Every once in a while, they do laugh. So that's always pleasant to hear you laugh. But we are going to get back to fishing, because that's what we're actually here for. We just wanted to jump on here, say hello. And again, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Fly Fishing Unfiltered.
Bye-bye.